My phone screen cracked when I dropped it on the hospital floor. "Thank God for anonymous donors," my daughter's Instagram post read. "A stranger saved my life when my own family couldn't help." I was staring at her celebration from my recovery bed 3 floors down, bandaged and weak from giving her my kidney an hour ago. She'd begged the doctors to lie and tell her it was anonymous because she couldn't handle owing her life to family. My surgical incision tore as I bent to pick up the shattered phone, but nothing hurt worse than watching my daughter thank a stranger for my sacrifice. I'm Rebecca Walsh, and I just discovered that some love is too heavy for your own children to carry. Let me tell you how I became an anonymous stranger to my own daughter. The call came on a Tuesday morning in March while I was grading papers in my empty classroom. Megan's voice was shaky, smaller than I'd heard it since she was little. "Mom, I need to tell you something." "What's wrong, sweetheart?" "My kidneys are failing. Stage 4 chronic kidney disease. The doctors say I need a transplant within 6 months or..." She couldn't finish the sentence. The stack of tests I was holding scattered across my desk like snow. "What? How's that possible? You're only 28. "It's genetic, something called polycystic kidney disease. Apparently, it runs in families, but nobody knew because it usually shows up later in life." My mind raced back through our family history. My father had died of kidney problems when I was 12, but that was 1985. They didn't have the same diagnostic tools then. My grandmother had been sick for years before she died. Always tired, always pale. We'd never connected the dots. "Are you on the transplant list?" I asked, already mentally calculating drive times to Denver hospitals. "Yeah, but the wait is 3 to 5 years for a deceased donor. The doctor said my best chance is a living donor, but..." She trailed off. "But what?" "Mom, you're 59 years old. You've already done so much for me. I can't ask you to risk your life because of my bad genetics." I almost laughed at the absurdity. Risk my life? This woman was my life. She was my only child, the baby I'd carried for 9 months and loved for 28 years. The girl I'd rocked through ear infections and cheered at soccer games and helped move into college dorm rooms. "Megan, I'm getting tested to be your donor." "Mom, no, I've already thought about this. Ryan can't donate because of his diabetes. Dad's blood type is wrong. My friends are all young and need their kidneys. I'll wait for the list." "You might not have 3 years to wait." "Then that's just how it is. I'm not taking my mother's kidney. End of discussion." But it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the most important fight of my life. I called her a nephrologist the next day, Dr. Amanda Thompson at Denver General. I'd met her once during one of Megan's appointments, a sharp woman with kind eyes who didn't sugarcoat. "Bad news. I want to be tested as a kidney donor for my daughter. Mrs. Walsh, I appreciate your willingness, but Megan has been extremely clear that she refuses family donors." "Why not?" Dr. Thompson's voice softened. "She broke down in my office yesterday. She's terrified of turning her family into casualties of her disease. And frankly, she mentioned something about not wanting to owe her survival to emotional manipulation." The words hit like ice water. Emotional manipulation? Those were her words, not mine. She seems to believe that accepting an organ from family comes with strings attached. "Doctor, what are her actual chances on the donor list?" Dr. Thompson pulled up Megan's file, her face grim. "With her blood type, age, and deterioration rate, she'll be dead before a kidney becomes available. The average wait is 4 years. She has maybe 8 months. My legs almost gave out. And with a living donor. Immediate surgery, 98% success rate. Normal life expectancy. Then test me." "Mrs. Walsh, I need to ask, have you discussed this thoroughly with Megan? Organ donation between family members brings unique emotional dynamics that we like to address in counseling. She doesn't want me to donate, but I'm going to anyway." The testing took 6 weeks. Blood work, imaging, psychological evaluation, meetings with transplant coordinators who wanted to make sure I understood the risks. I did understand them. I also understood that watching your child die when you could save them was a risk I couldn't live with. During those 6 weeks, I watched Megan deteriorate faster than anyone had predicted. Her skin took on a gray pallor that makeup couldn't hide. She stopped posting photos of herself on social media, only sharing inspirational quotes about fighting battles people can't see. Then came the emergency call that changed everything. "Mrs. Walsh, this is Dr. Thompson. Megan collapsed at work and is in the ICU. Her kidney function has dropped to 7%. We need to accelerate the transplant timeline immediately, or we're going to lose her." I found Megan unconscious in the ICU, machines breathing for her, her face so swollen I barely recognized my own daughter. Ryan sat beside her bed, holding her hand and crying. "The doctor says she might not wake up," he whispered when he saw me. How did this happen so fast? I looked at my dying daughter and made a decision that would change both our lives forever. That night, I called Dr. Thompson from the ICU waiting room. "Is there a way to donate anonymously to Megan?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, can I give her my kidney without her knowing it came from me? She's unconscious. She can't refuse anymore." A long pause. "Mrs. Walsh, what you're suggesting is ethically complex and emotionally dangerous. My daughter is dying because she'd rather die than owe me her life. Is that more ethical?" "The medical logistics are possible," Dr. Thompson admitted. "We could tell her an emergency donor came forward, but you'd be undergoing major surgery with no emotional support, no recognition, and no guarantee she won't discover the truth. Doctor, in 6 hours, either I'm going to save my daughter's life or I'm going to watch her die from pride. Which one sounds ethical to you?" "I don't need her gratitude. I need her alive." Dr. Martinez was quiet for a moment. "This is a very serious decision. You'd be undergoing major surgery and recovery with no recognition, no emotional support from the recipient, And no guarantee that Megan won't figure it out eventually. Can you arrange it? I'll need to speak with our ethics committee and transplant team. This isn't entirely unprecedented, but it's rare. What would you tell Megan? That an anonymous living donor has come forward, someone who heard about her case and wants to help. Would she believe that? Living donor chains and altruistic donations happen more often than people realize. She'd probably be surprised by the timing, but grateful for the opportunity. 2 hours later, I signed the emergency consent forms while Megan lay dying 3 rooms away. The surgery was scheduled for 6 a.m., an emergency double operation that Dr. Thompson warned could kill us both. Emergency transplants have higher risks, she explained as I signed my life away on medical forms. But it's her only chance. Do it. Mrs. Walsh, you understand that if she finds out, she may never forgive you for making this choice while she was unconscious? If she finds out, at least she'll be alive to be angry. Are you absolutely certain about this? I've never been more certain of anything in my life. You understand that if she finds out, she may feel betrayed rather than grateful? If she finds out, at least she'll be alive to feel betrayed. The surgery was scheduled for June 15th, a Thursday morning. I told my principal I needed emergency surgery for a personal medical issue, and arranged for 2 weeks off. I told my sister I was taking a vacation. I told no one the truth except Dr. Martinez and her team. The night before surgery, I sat in my empty house writing letters I hoped I'd never need to send. One to Megan, explaining why I'd deceived her if something went wrong. One to my sister, asking her to take care of practical things. One to Ryan, asking him to help Megan understand someday. In the letter to Megan, I wrote, "If you are reading this, something has gone wrong, and you probably know the truth about your donor. I need you to understand that this was never about control or obligation. This was about love. The same love that made me learn to drive so I could take you to soccer practice. The same love that made me work 2 jobs to pay for your college. The same love that would do anything, sacrifice anything, to keep you in this world. You don't owe me your life, sweetheart. But I owe you mine." I woke up from surgery in agony, my side feeling like it had been split open with an axe. Through the morphine haze, I could hear nurses talking about the miracle save happening upstairs. "The girl almost died on the table," one whispered. "But the donor kidney started working immediately. Amazing how strangers will risk everything for people they've never met." Strangers. I closed my eyes and felt tears leak down my cheeks. 6 hours later, Dr. Thompson appeared beside my bed. "The surgery was a complete success. Your kidney is already producing urine in Megan's body. You saved her life. Is she awake? Just came out of sedation an hour ago. She's asking about her guardian angel donor and wants to send a thank you card to whoever saved her life." I turned my face to the wall so Dr. Thompson wouldn't see me cry. She has no idea? None. As far as she knows, an emergency donor appeared just in time. She thinks God sent her a miracle. God didn't send her a miracle. I sent her my kidney. But apparently, those were the same thing. My recovery was lonely in a way I hadn't expected. I couldn't share the joy of successful surgery with anyone. I couldn't call Megan to check on how she was feeling with her new kidney, our kidney. I had to content myself with texting her normal mom messages about getting rest and eating well, pretending I didn't know exactly why she needed to do those things. 3 days after surgery, she posted her first photo on social media. She looked radiant, color returned to her cheeks, sitting up in her hospital bed with a genuine smile I hadn't seen in months. "Day 3, post-transplant and feeling human again," she wrote. "This anonymous angel gave me a second chance at life. I'll never know who you are, but I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of your gift." I liked the post from my own hospital bed and cried happy tears that hurt my healing incision. 3 days later came the post that shattered whatever pieces of my heart surgery had left intact. "Thank God for anonymous donors," she wrote in all caps, posting a photo of herself looking radiant in her hospital bed. When I was dying, my family couldn't help me. Wrong blood types, too old, health issues. But a complete stranger stepped up and saved my life. This person will never know how grateful I am, but they gave me everything without expecting anything in return. That's what real love looks like. No strings, no guilt, no family drama. Just pure human kindness. I'm naming my first daughter after this angel. Im Anonymous. Hero, pure unconditional love, no strings attached. Real love, blessed by strangers. I read that post from my hospital bed, my surgical site screaming in pain every time I breathed. My family couldn't help. Wrong blood types, too old, health issues. I was 59 years old with perfect blood compatibility, recovering from giving her my kidney 3 floors below her celebration. The stranger she was planning to name her daughter after was me. The pure unconditional love she was praising belonged to me. The real love with no strings was my love. But I was just family, and apparently family love didn't count. The irony was so sharp it could have cut through bone. Over the following weeks, Megan's health improved dramatically. She went back to work, started dating again, posted photos of hiking trips and restaurant visits, and all the life activities her failing kidneys had stolen from her. Every post thanked her anonymous angel and marveled at the kindness of strangers. She never once mentioned wondering if her family felt bad about not being able to help. I went back to teaching after 2 weeks, telling everyone I'd had minor surgery and was feeling much better. My students made me get well cards. My coworkers brought casseroles. No one knew I was healing from the most important thing I'd ever done. The secret felt like carrying a stone in my chest that grew heavier every day. 6 months later, at Megan's follow-up appointment that I attended as her concerned mother, Dr. Thompson caught my eye across the waiting room. "Mrs. Walsh, could I speak with you privately for a moment?" We stepped into a small conference room. "How are you healing?" "Perfectly, no complications." "And emotionally?" This can't have been easy, watching her celebrate without knowing. "It's been exactly what I expected. She's alive and healthy. That's all that matters. She's doing remarkably well. Her kidney function is excellent. You saved her life." "An anonymous donor saved her life," I corrected. Dr. Thompson studied my face. "Do you ever regret the decision to remain anonymous?" I thought about Megan's social media posts, about her gratitude to a stranger, about her relief at not owing her life to her own mother. "No," I said. "She's happy. She feels free. She's living without the burden of feeling obligated to me. That's what she wanted." "But what did you want?" "I wanted her alive. Mission accomplished." But later that evening, as I watched Megan post another photo from a concert she was able to attend because her energy had returned, I wondered if Dr. Thompson was right to ask what I wanted. I wanted my daughter to be healthy. Check. I wanted her to live a full life. Check. I wanted her to never suffer because of pride or fear. Check. But I also wanted her to understand that love doesn't come with strings attached. It comes with the willingness to cut all the strings if necessary. I wanted her to know that the greatest gift I could give her wasn't my kidney, but the freedom to receive it without guilt. Most of all, I wanted her to learn the difference between obligation and gratitude, between being owned and being loved. A year later, Megan got engaged to Ryan. She posted photos of the ring, the proposal story, the engagement party. In one photo caption, she wrote, "Ryan loves me for who I am, not what I owe him. Thank God for people who love without expectations, unlike some family members who think saving someone's life means owning them forever." I stared at that post for an hour, wondering who she thought had tried to own her. At the engagement party, I watched my healthy, glowing daughter celebrate with friends and family. During her speech, she said, "2 years ago, I thought my life was over. But sometimes miracles come from the most unexpected places. My anonymous donor taught me that the purest love comes from strangers who expect nothing in return. Not like family love, which always comes with conditions." I raised my wine glass with everyone else and toasted to my daughter's ignorant happiness. But 3 months later, the truth came out in the cruelest way possible. Ryan's mother needed a kidney transplant. And during the donor compatibility testing, a nurse mentioned something that changed everything. "It's so wonderful that kidney donation runs in your family," she told Megan cheerfully. "Your mother must be so proud that you both received life-saving organs from family members." "What?" Megan's face went white. "My donor was anonymous." "Oh, honey, no. Your donor was your mother. It's right here in your medical records. Rebecca Walsh, kidney donation, June 15th, 2022. Same last name, same emergency contact. Most beautiful mother-daughter donation we've ever seen." Ryan told me later that Megan vomited in the hospital parking lot and didn't stop crying for 3 days. And she called me on a Thursday night, her voice broken. "Mom, is it true?" "Is what true?" "Did you give me your kidney?" I closed my eyes. 2 years of secret sacrifice, exposed by a chatty nurse. "Yes." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you preferred getting it from a stranger." Silence. Then, "I need to see you." She came to my house the next evening, looking like she'd aged 5 years in 1 week. We sat in my living room, the same room where she'd told me she'd rather die than owe me her life. "I called Dr. Thompson," she said quietly. "She told me everything, how I was dying, how you donated as an emergency surgery while I was unconscious, how you've been living with a secret for 2 years while I celebrated my anonymous angel. Megan, I've been posting about you. For 2 years, I've been posting about how grateful I am to you. But I thought you were a stranger. I know. I wrote thank you posts about you. I was going to name my first daughter after you, but I thought you were someone else. I know. All those posts about how family love comes with strings and stranger love is pure. I was talking about you the whole time. You were both the family I was dismissing and the stranger I was praising." I watched her process the magnitude of what she'd done. "Mom, you've been watching me celebrate your sacrifice while calling you manipulative. You've been listening to me say that stranger love is better than mother love when your kidney was keeping me alive. Yes. Why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you tell me the truth? Because I wanted you to live without guilt. I wanted you to feel free." She broke down completely then, sobbing the way she had when she was little and something precious had broken beyond repair. "I can't take it back," she cried. "I can't unsay all those things. I can't undo 2 years of celebrating someone else for your sacrifice. You don't need to take anything back. But I was so cruel. I was so wrong. You were grateful to your donor. That's all that mattered to me. But I wasn't grateful to you. I was grateful to some imaginary perfect stranger while treating my actual mother like she was trying to manipulate me." I pulled her into my arms, the way I had when she was little, feeling her cry against my shoulder. "Sweetheart, you were grateful to me. You just didn't know it was me." But even as I comforted her, I realized something had been permanently broken. She would spend the rest of her life knowing that she'd loved her mother's gift while rejecting her mother's love. That she'd praised stranger kindness while dismissing family devotion. That for 2 years, she'd been living proof that sometimes we love people more when we don't know who they are. Today, Megan works for an organ donation nonprofit. She tells her story at medical conferences about learning that her anonymous donor was actually her mother. She talks about how love sometimes means staying invisible so someone else can see clearly. But she never posts on social media anymore. She visits me every Sunday for dinner, and we cook together in comfortable silence, creating new memories that don't require any secrets. Sometimes she looks at me like she's seeing me for the first time, this woman who loved her enough to disappear so she could live without guilt. Do you regret it? She asked me recently. Staying anonymous? I regret that you needed me to. I'm sorry I needed you to. I'm not sorry I chose you anyway. My kidney still works in her body, filtering her blood with a love that finally has no secrets left to hide. She knows now that her anonymous angel had a name, a face, and a broken heart that healed the day her daughter learned the difference between owing someone your life and owing them your love. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the chance to discover they've been loved by a stranger who turned out to be their mother all along.